Hello, and welcome to Your Money 2.0. I'm Thomas Fox, Community Outreach Director of Cambridge Credit Counseling. Annie Leonard is an activist and author who's given us an entertaining look at our consumer-driven society. Her short film, The Story of Stuff, is both an appealing and thought-provoking look at our modern culture and the effects of our lifestyle on the planet. One of the most interesting ideas within her 20-minute animated film has to do with our desire to buy more and more, stuff. Over the last few decades in particular, Americans have taken on hundreds of billions of dollars of debt, acquiring more and more of everything simply to keep up with the Joneses. Why? That's one of the questions The Story of Stuff tries to answer. Of the 100 largest economies on Earth, 51 aren't countries. They're corporations. That's right, many large conglomerates are now making more money than many nations. How have these companies grown so large? By getting you and me to consume products they produce. The Story of Stuff contends that it's no accident that companies have become so powerful. History played a pivotal role, and clever marketers and designers took it from there. As America entered the 1950s, it had recently endured 2 world wars and the Great Depression. The desire to indulge their dormant consumer longings quickly proved irresistible to millions of Americans who began to buy those things they had willingly done without for so many years. Retail analyst Victor LeBeau noted that our enormously productive economy demands that we make consumption our way of life, that we convert the buying and use of goods into rituals, that we seek our spiritual satisfaction, our ego satisfaction in consumption. We need things consumed, burned up, replaced, and discarded at an ever-accelerating rate. Economists who've never been in it for spiritual or ego satisfaction find it easy to disregard quite a bit of Mr. LeBeau's assertion, but they can't ignore the impact that consumerism has had on our planet. As illustrated in The Story of Stuff, over the past 30 years, 1/3 of our planet's natural resource base has been devoted to creating consumer goods. While this is true of the entire population of the planet, Americans are the biggest culprits. You see, we make up 5% of the world's population, but we're using 30% of its resources. According to Leonard, if everyone on the planet consumed at the rate the United States does, we would need 5 planets to meet those demands. How did we get here? Well, that's the tricky part. We didn't just wake up one day and become super consumers. Things happened gradually. One of the largest factors feeding consumer appetite is something called planned obsolescence. In The Story of Stuff, the phrase is shorthand for designed for the dump. According to Ms. Leonard, many manufacturers actually create products to be useless or obsolete within a given time frame, so you and I will discard them and buy new ones. Think of it. How quickly do cell phones become obsolete? Computers? How many automobiles have you owned? There is a laundry list of items, including washers and dryers, that are simply built to last for so long, even though the technology to make them more durable exists. Why? Well, if I bought only one cell phone in my entire life, how could the cell phone industry survive? What about you? What if you only bought one cell phone in your entire life? Planned obsolescence has helped to make those 51 companies I mentioned earlier become part of the 100 largest economies on the planet. Perceived obsolescence is another matter altogether. The phrase refers to the notion that although an object may continue to be functional, at some point it is no longer perceived to be useful or appropriate. Therefore, it is rendered obsolete by perception rather than by function. Fashion is perhaps the best example of perceived obsolescence. Each year, designers and retailers produce rack after rack of new clothing, and, in the hopes of being trendy, consumers eagerly purchase these products. Do they do so because what they purchased last year is no longer wearable, or because they want to appear fashionable? The Story of Stuff has much more to offer, and I recommend that you take the opportunity to review some of this thought-provoking material by visiting www.storyofstuff.com. Well, that's it for this edition. As always, we welcome your feedback and ask for your thoughts and suggestions by emailing us at yourmoney2@cambridgecredit.org. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Thomas Fox for Cambridge Credit Counseling.